Hello everyone. My name is Will and I run a YouTube channel called WBC Sports. At my school, we had a class called Genius Hour. In Genius Hour, we were instructed to create a project on any topic we were passionate about. Thus, they were called passion projects. I have loved baseball since I was very little, so it only made sense that I created a passion project on baseball. I knew a lot about baseball and I knew a lot about the history, but I figured many other people didn't. Originally, I was just going to make a big poster and present it to people, but my administrator didn't think that I would reach a wide enough audience. He suggested that I make a Powtoon and upload it to YouTube. I liked that idea and I decided to include a quiz where people could give me feedback on my video. The playlist of videos I created on my YouTube channel was called The History of the MLB. I'd never done anything of this sort, so it was a brand new experience. I began taking notes for this project, which is what my teacher called the inquiry phase. I started in 1839 with Abner Doubleday and went all the way until the Chicago Cubs won the World Series in 2016. As you can see, I had many different points throughout history, some of which I thought were important, but many people would believe otherwise. So I narrowed them down into the notes I used for my videos, which was almost half of the original notes. I quickly traveled into the design phase and wrote my script. The script was fairly long and it elaborated on my notes. After I finished gathering all of my notes and writing, I went to learn about Powtoons. I realized that the time it would take me to speak would be upwards of 20 minutes, which would be way too long for a single video. I decided to break it up into 5 different videos, which if you look at my YouTube channel, you will realize that my videos are all relatively short. As I ventured further into Powtoon, I learned that they recommended me to record my voiceover before I started the animation. If I didn't come across this, my project would have been way harder to complete. Next, I started what my teacher called the creation phase. I went and created a YouTube channel. I was trying to think of a name and eventually landed on WBC Sports, which stands for Will's Baseball Channel Sports. I was unsure of how to create a channel, so I started with making an email and following the steps that YouTube gave me. I went on to make my logo and banner in PowerPoint. I know, real high tech, right? After I recorded my vocals, I put them into FL Studio and chopped them up so they flowed without abrupt pauses. Initially, I just recorded it and exported, but as I was editing them in Powtoon, I realized that they sounded like and were really choppy. So I went back and cut all of them so they were really smooth. Then I exported them into 5 different MP3 files. I created the Powtoon files for the intro and the outro first. This helped me get the feel for the Powtoon process. I exported those and saved them in Adobe Premiere Elements so I could go back and use them for other videos. As I ventured my way into Powtoon and created my first videos, I experienced downloading problems. I was unsure of how to download them. I didn't have accessibility to downloading it in an MP4 version, so I decided to create a new and private YouTube account just for uploading them. Then I would download them from YouTube. This thankfully worked and I inserted them into Adobe Premiere. Because I wasn't very fluent with Powtoon, the first long Powtoon took me forever to make. I didn't time it, but I would estimate it took me around 8 or 9 hours. This felt like an era, and I was hating it. I knew it was something I would appreciate after completion, so I kept going. I kept working, and eventually my project was completed. As I further worked, I became more comprehensive with Powtoon, and a second video took about 3 hours. I would say the other 3 probably took me around 5 hours combined. I continued making all of these videos, and I eventually completed all 5. Along with those 5 videos, I had 5 quizzes that are in the description sections of my videos. I used these quizzes to measure my success. Sadly, very few people actually answered them. After I finished these videos, I, of course, had to figure out how to upload them. It was actually pretty easy for me because I had used lots of technology before. But the only problem was that it took forever to enter all of the tags. I put in a ton for the first video, but the other ones not as many. I didn't feel like spending 10 minutes typing them in there. I used the same generic description for each video with just a couple of changes. Then I had to go and make the thumbnails. In order to do this, I would screenshot the title of each video and then crop them into the size of YouTube's thumbnails. I'm now in the evaluation phase, which is looking back at my project and seeing how successful I was. The success I decided for my project was to have 15 people say they would watch the next video in the series. I thought that would be pretty easy because I thought people that watched the video would go down to the description and take the quiz. I only had 11 people take it, 10 of which were my mom. I wish more people would have taken the quiz, but if they didn't want to, they didn't have to. I was lucky enough that I didn't have any major mistakes or mess-ups in this project. Overall, it went very fluently. If you liked the idea of a passion project, I would encourage you to try it. I really enjoyed learning more in depth about Major League Baseball and the history behind it. With my YouTube channel, I'm unsure of where to go. I may continue with the channel by uploading videos, but I'm not sure. I think it would be cool, but my channel hasn't had any exposure, and I'm not sure how to get it. Overall, I really like the project and the opportunity to do what I want.
Now I do what I want.
I obviously learned about the history of baseball, but more importantly, I learned to persevere through the tough and boring times because there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. Thank you.